Hi everyone, Mina here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be talking about my birth story and how the whole thing took place, how I delivered my first baby. My daughter's name is Shodam. She is currently 2.5 months and she's doing great. She is the best thing that has ever happened in my life. I never ever thought that love could ever feel this way, but now I know, and I just love her to bits and pieces. So the reason why I'm recording this birth story is not only for the audience but also for myself and for Shonam to, for her especially, so that she can always come back and see and watch what happened during her birth. So yeah, I'm also actually getting ready to go out with Shonam's daddy. We are going to Tesco. We're not going anywhere. We're just going to Tesco to get some groceries, and it's almost Deepavali, and we are kind of getting ready for that as well. So I'm almost ready. I told my mom to take care of Shonam while I shoot, so that I can get both things done at the same time. So anyway, my due date was supposed to be on the 27th of August 2020. Shonam was born on the 20th of August 2020 via C-section. So the reason for that C-section was because I had an issue. I'm not so sure if I want to talk about that right now. She was born on 22nd of August 2020 at 9:45 in the morning, and she was 3.5 kilograms when she was born. She was chubby and she was cute and she was lovely. So anyway, I want to talk about the delivery and my experience in the hospital. So the hospital that she was born in was in JB. It was a government hospital, Hospital Sultan Aminah. So what happened was, when I was informed that I have to have my C-section, right, I was also informed that because of the pandemic that had hit Malaysia and also the entire world at that time, we were under lockdown still. At that point in August, the number of cases in Malaysia was decreasing, but we were still under lockdown. So I was told that I have to take a COVID-19 swab test 2 days prior to the actual delivery date that was given to me, and I have to be admitted after the swab test. So that means on the 20th of August, I have to admit myself in HSA. HSA is Hospital Sultan Aminah in JB. So I have to get myself admitted there, and I have to get my swab test done, and then I have to, stay in that hospital till the day of my delivery. So anyway, I went in the morning with my mom. My mom and my cousin drove me to the hospital. I had my luggage, my pillow ready. I had everything ready, and in my mind I thought that I was going to get myself admitted into the first class ward. So I had my luggage with all my clothes in Ziploc bags, day one, labor room clothes, going back home clothes, and I had Shonam's clothes in separate Ziploc bags as well. I was organized. I was ready for that delivery, and I was quite pumped because despite wanting to deliver normal, or wanting to have a normal delivery, I was still pumped because I was going to meet my daughter in another 2 days, and I was like, hell, I don't care if this happens in a government hospital, because I did hear good things about government hospitals. So in my mind, okay, I'm going in, I'm going to have the best time that I possibly can. And I kept telling myself that, just think of it as a camping trip. a camping trip is not always what you expect. You know, you don't get all the facilities that you want. You don't get things that you want in jungle, but you know, you go through it, you have fun. So in my mind, I thought, oh, I'm going to get myself admitted into the first class ward, if not the second class ward. So to my surprise, when I reached HSA, the registration counter, we've already registered everything. We were not informed about anything. The guy at the counter just took my file, my letter from my clinic. He took it in and he asked for my identification card, my IC, and then he started typing everything in, and he just told me, okay, you have to go to this building. Then I asked him, how much do I need to pay? Do I pay now? This is my first baby, so obviously I'm not very well informed about this. So I was like, do I pay now or do I pay later? So can I get the first class? I was shocked when he told me. He was like, he gave me the look, and he was like,
it's pandemic, you don't get the first class. Tak ada.
Like that. Then I was like, tak ada first class sudah penuh ke? I asked him like that. Then he was like, tak
ada first class.
He said like that again, and I asked him like, do you have second class? Then he said,
tak ada. Yang paling bawah saja.
That means you only get the normal. Yeah, he told me that you only get the normal ward. So I was a bit shocked at that point, but I did not know what was coming ahead. Seriously, in my mind, a normal ward could be a ward with 8 patients in a room. That was what I expected. So it was not at all what I expected. So anyway, I went to that building that he referred me to. I went there. It was a long walk. It was a very, very sunny day. We were sweating buckets, me, my mother, and my cousin Asha. Finally reached, and it was like beside I don't want to be wrong, but it could be beside a mosque, right? It was like a whole separate building from HSA, across the road. And we went there. It was quiet. There were a few nurses outside with a table. They registered me, and they said that my mom and my cousin cannot come with me to take the swab test, and they have to say their goodbyes now. They can't come to the ward with me as well because of the pandemic. So once I get the swab test taken, nobody can come and visit me. So I've already prepared my mind myself about that, and I was like, you have to be strong for this. And I kept reminding myself that, okay, just think of this as a camping trip, and you know, it will end by the time, you know, it will end very quickly. So anyway, I went into this hall. It was like after the registration, they asked me to go into I thought it's a room, but it's actually like a small hall, and the hall was totally empty, and there were chairs that were placed further from one another, social distancing. So there was this Chinese lady sitting on the first chair, and I went in, I said hello to her, and I went and sat on the second chair. So once I sat there, my bags were outside, and I just brought in my bottle and my phone inside the hall, because we had to wait there for our swabs to be taken. So I was there, I was watching videos on my phone, and after a while I was given food in this food packaging, and I thought, not too bad, not too shabby. It was honestly not too bad. It was rice, it was vegetables, like mixed veggies, and there were chicken curry, if I'm not mistaken. So it wasn't that bad, to be honest. So I ate that. In my mind, again, I thought, this is a camping trip, so you can't be choosy with what you eat. So just eat what they give you and just be thankful that, you know, at least you got the food. So I ate. They gave us water bottles each, and then came this uncle, and this uncle, obviously he's not, I mean, the other lady, she was also pregnant, so I'm assuming that she was also delivering together with me. She was also going through C-section. And when I spoke to that uncle, he was supposed to have a surgery. I think it's a lung surgery or a heart surgery. I think it's a heart surgery, a bypass or something. I'm not too sure. But he was there. He was supposed to take a COVID-19 swab as well. So anyway, we got our swabs taken. It was not as painful as what I thought. Probably because my nose is big. So anyway, got my swabs taken, and then finally an ambulance van came, and we were being transported to the ward. So I was excited. I was like, okay, finally I can rest, because sitting in that white plastic chair, we were sitting there for quite long. We were there for 2 to 3 hours. So I was tired. I was pregnant. You have to understand that having that huge belly. And even then I was exercising, because I was like, I have to stay healthy for my baby, and I wanted to meet her as soon as possible, and blah blah blah. So anyway, they brought us to the ward, and to my huge surprise, I almost cried, but I didn't. The ward was huge. It was a huge hall, and it was like a T section. So this is the hall. So it's like a hall here, and then there's a hall here. It was just like a big ass room, and there were beds everywhere. Even in the middle of the path, there were beds there as well. I'll insert a clip here, a very very short clip. That was the hall, and there were beds very close to one another. I think there were around 90 beds in that whole hall, and I was shell-shocked, and I was surprised, and I was not happy about it. I wanted to run. I just wanted to run. I did not want to be there, but something in me kept telling me that, you know, I didn't want to. I'm the type of person that do not like to be a trouble for anyone. So in my mind, I thought, oh, I've packed my bags. My cousin and my mom has sent me all the way to the hospital. The date has been set. I can't do anything about this. I have to go through this. So when they gave me that bed number, I felt like a prisoner. I felt like that I was in prison, to be honest, seriously. And I just went ahead. I was like, Mina, again, just think of it as a camping trip. It'll be over by the time it starts. So yeah, I was like, okay, let's just try and be as comfortable as possible. The bed in the hospital, it wasn't too bad. I'm not a very picky person, so I can manage. The bed was fine. There were a few stains on the bed sheet, but I can tell that those stains were, you know, just stains that you just can't get rid of. And I understand that it's a government hospital, so it's fine. I put my pillow, I had everything ready, and then I went to the toilet. The washroom was, okay, this is the layout of the washroom, right? So you go in, and you've got the cubicles lined up on both the sides, and on your left hand side are the toilet bowls, and then on the right hand side is the shower area. It was exactly like being in a hostel, and it was clean. It wasn't super clean, but it was fine. On the first day when I went there, it was fine. It wasn't so bad. So I was like quite happy about it, and I called my mom. I said I did not like being there at all. It was stuffy. On the first day, it was so hot, I would have died. So eventually my mom brought in a fan for me, but that was hard. Being stuffy and hot was hard, but other than that, I was okay with everything else. So first day went fine. Second day, however, second day, what happened was I had a few problems. I was starting to get really antsy being there. I was bored sick, and you know, everyone was just, some of the patients, new patients are coming in, and old patients are leaving to have their C-sections done, and you know, the lights are always on all the time, so you can't really get a good rest there, and you know, nobody can come and visit. So at that point of time, in my mind I was emotionally quite affected, because no one was allowed to come in. My husband was already there in JB with his parents, but he wasn't allowed to come in as well. So my mom was also not allowed to come in, but she could come in once with the fan and everything, just to pass it to me. And that itself, they told her that, you know, you can stay for probably a few minutes and that's it. you have to go back. So I was very emotionally affected at that point. So anything that had happened would have been bad for me. And I remember at one point the toilet got clogged in the ward, and I think somebody threw their pad into the toilet bowl, and the water overflowed. The toilet got blocked, and when I went in to take my shower, it was dirty. It was horrible. It was bad, and the toilet, the floor was flooded with water, and I saw these patients. They were just walking like there was nothing there, and I'm the kind of person who I'm not a neat freak, but I need to be clean. I can't. I just could not. I almost puked. I almost threw up. And so the cubicles, right, the lined up cubicles, somehow there were more water towards the end of the cubicle, and there were less water towards the first few sections of the cubicle. So I tried to go into that first few sections. So the first toilet that I went into, there were poop in the toilet, so that was disgusting. So I went to the next toilet, and while I was going in, there's water on the floor, and I'm trying to walk with my slippers, and there were period blood on the floor floating. I'm not kidding. That was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my whole life. And I couldn't. I started crying. I really started bawling my eyes out because I just could not stand that. And I'm like looking at everyone else, and they were just walking around like nothing has happened, and I just could not. I came out and I told the nurse that the toilet's clogged. There's period blood everywhere on the floor, and they were like, oh, okay, there'll be someone coming back to take care of it. So this is what happens in government, they don't give a damn about it, or they're so used to it. I don't know which one, seriously. So I did eventually use the toilet because I had to. What I did afterwards were I came out, and there was a section of the shower area that was quite clean. So I waited till someone was in there taking their shower. So I waited till they come out, and I had my soap with me, and I went in and I put soap all over my leg because that was the part that I came into contact with that water, that contaminated water. So I washed my leg with soap, and then I was a bit okay, and I went back to my bed, and I was dreading the next time I had to go and pee or to take a shower because I just could not go into it. And I kept going back and checking whether the toilet is fixed, and I was crying a lot that day. I remember calling my mom and crying and saying that this is not fair, that I have to go through this. I did not know. And mind you, my sister did call, and she did ask me if I want to move to a private hospital, but I just didn't want to trouble anyone. So I just say it's fine, I'll just take care of myself. So it was my decision to stay. The next day early morning, I checked, and the toilet was fixed, and it was very, very clean, and I was very, very happy. And I went on with my day, and came the day of my C-section. So I've been getting my contraction. I think on the 22nd of August is my C-section, right? So on the 21st of August, the whole day I was getting on and off contraction, but it was very, very mild. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't something that should be that I should be worrying about. And it was I did track my contractions, and it was about, first it was like 20 minutes apart, and then it was 15 minutes apart. It was quite random at some points, but towards the 22nd of August, on the day of my C-section, it was starting to get quite regular, and I was starting to doubt myself, and I was starting to be like, oh, I just wish I can go to normal and I don't have to do this, and so on. At 3 o'clock in the morning, I remember waking up, and I had these very bad contractions, and I just couldn't sleep. And I was telling the nurse will come and check you regularly, just to check if you're doing okay. They will check your blood pressure and everything. So I told the nurse that I'm getting contraction, so she put me on that what's that called again? The thing that they put on your belly. They put me on that, and then they checked my contraction. They did a VA exam again. The thing about my cervix is that my cervix is too high up, so the doctor always says that it's very difficult to check your opening, and they end up saying that, you know, they put in their hand and they're like, I can't reach, and they end up saying that no, there's no openings. So I'm not too sure about that, but that was what happened. And they said that you still have to go through your C-section, because that's what you have informed us, that you're going to have your C-section. So that's what we're going to do. So at around 5 o'clock in the morning, they told me to go and get my shower, take my shower, and make sure that I clean my bowel, have my bowel movements and so on. So I did that. So after that, at around 6 or 7, I was in a room and they inserted the catheter in me, and at that point of time I remember being so scared. I was scared out of my mind, and I remember panicking. And you know, this nurse was coming in and she was like, okay, I'm gonna have to put the catheter in you right now. They put that in me, and I was shaking so much. And when I came out of that room, they said, okay, now you have to lie down on the stretcher, and we're going to bring you to the labor room. And I was shaking. It felt like I wasn't here on earth. It felt like I was in a different planet, seriously. Or I wasn't in my body. I felt like I wasn't in my body, and I just had to move my body, and I felt like everything around me is shaking, but it's just like I'm not there. So I laid down on that stretcher. And the thing about me that I know for years due to experience is that I cannot lay flat. I cannot for the life of me lay flat and people strap me in. I really cannot. So when they did that, I panicked again, and then I got into the labor room. And getting into that labor room, it was all very clean. The labor room was very clean. It was huge. There were lights everywhere on top. Obviously I'm laying down on my back, so I can only see the lights on top. And there were so many nurses and so many doctors there. That was kind of freaky. They were all trying to, like, you know, while they are pushing me through on my stretcher, while I'm on my stretcher and they're pushing me into the labor room, I can see the lights passing by on top of me, and I'm panicking, and I can hear them laughing, and they were talking. And I somehow, when you're panicking, right, and when you're stressed out, when you hear people laughing, right, you feel like what the hell, like, why are they laughing, why don't they understand my pain, I'm freaking out and so on. So that's how I felt. So once I reached there, they were like trying to you know, give me motivation. They were like,
You can do it. We are here with you. It's going to end very fast. Don't worry.
and so on. And I was just like, I wasn't there. My body was there, my mind wasn't there exactly. It came to a point where they have to read out everything, and I'm freaking out, and they're reading out everything. And then they finally asked for my consent. They were like, can you
Tell me what your name is so that we can, you know, check for your consent and everything.
And when they said, what's your name? I'm like, Mina Kumari, anak perempuan S. Rajendra. It felt like the sound was coming out of my mouth, but I don't know if I was actually saying it. And then they were like, can you read out your IC number? And they had to ask me, I think they had to ask that around 3 or 4 times, because I kept on like, I just zoned out. I just kept quiet the whole time, and they had to kept asking me. They were like, Mina, can you tell me your IC number? Mina, can you tell me your IC number? I was freaking out, seriously. And then finally I did, and then came the injection. So they were supposed to give me a spinal injection on my back. And for me, I've always been the kind of person who was never afraid of injection. I felt like it was fine. I've had injections on my wrist, on here multiple times, and never complained. Felt like it was fine. So when they injected me on my back, it was painful, but it was manageable. But the problem with me again is that I can't sit still. I cannot. If people ask me to stay still, I cannot. I really cannot. So they asked me to, I was lying on my back, right? So they already transferred me onto the surgery bed. I was lying on my back. So they asked me to sit up like this. My leg is sprawled on the bed and my body was up 90 degrees. So it's like my body is here, my leg is here. And then they put a pillow in front of me. And then they said, you cannot move while we are injecting the spinal into you. So I'm like, I cannot. If people ask me not to move, I really cannot. So they injected once and then they started injecting me again and again and again. And I felt this, you know, that very stinging sensation. Like in Malay, they call it ngilu. I'm not so sure how they call it in English, but it was something like that. It was like not stinging. It was something like, it's a different sensation. So I kept feeling that, and I was starting to get very restless. And it was starting to hurt a little bit. So then I heard the doctor say, oh, I remember she told me that she had scoliosis. So when the doctor visited me, the anesthesiologist visited me ahead of time in the ward. I told her that I had a mild scoliosis, and I was told that that's not a problem. She brushed it off. She was like, it's fine. We'll just go ahead. So when she tried to inject me, I wasn't getting numb, and she started saying like, oh, I remember she said she has scoliosis and her ligament is quite tough. It's quite difficult to get through the ligament. I remember her saying that, and I started panicking again. I was like, am I going to get paralyzed on this bed? Is this ever going to end? Because it felt like forever. It could have just been a few minutes, but it really felt like forever to me. So anyway, they had to, at one point I started moving because I cannot stop moving. I don't like being constricted in one place, and they had to like keep saying,
Mina, don't move, you don't move. If you move, then you can get paralyzed. You know, it's dangerous. The needle could break in you. Don't move.
and I'm trying my best not to move. I'm like, faster, do it fast. And finally I felt this electric jolt, like a jolt on my left leg. And I told the doctor, I was like, why am I getting this electric jolt? And then she told me, are you sure you're getting it? On which leg? Then I said, on my left leg. And then she was like, okay, that means it's already working. And then it went really smoothly because I didn't feel anything down there. They asked me to try to lift my leg up, and I just couldn't. I felt numb completely down there. And next thing I know, I heard this sound. Zzz. I heard that sound. I know they were cutting me. And at that point, in my mind, I thought, my body is never going to be the same again. I will never get back this body that I was born with, my body that has not been touched with any surgeries yet. I will never get back that body. That was what went through my mind at that point of time. But I was still happy that I was going to see my baby, and my mind was completely focused on seeing my child, seeing my baby. So then I felt this tug, right? And I knew that it's going to be like a pressure because I was informed earlier. So I felt this tug, and I felt like a release. And then I asked the doctor, is the baby out yet? And then I heard this sound, this cry, this small cry, and it's so surreal. It is the most amazing sound you will ever hear in your whole life. It's just the most amazing. I can't describe it. There's just no words to describe it. And I started crying, and the doctor came and she wiped my tears. She was sweet. And I kept asking like, is she okay? Is she okay? I heard her cry, so I know that she's breathing, but I just wanted to know because she just let out a small cry, that's it. And then after a while they brought her, she was wrapped up in the swaddle, and they brought her to me and they showed her, and I was like looking up and I was like crying, and I was like, oh my god, that's my baby, I can't believe it. And she brought her close to me and I kissed her cheek. That was the most amazing thing in the whole world, and I felt so grateful that she gave me that, you know, I became a mother because of her. I will never forget. I don't ever want to forget that moment in my life, and I love her so much with all my heart. And you know, I remember kissing her, and I remember her pouting her lips. She was so cute. And then they had to take her away. We didn't have any skin to skin. That was very sad. And another reason why I want to go for normal next time, there was no skin to skin. They informed me that, you know, they're going to bring her, they're going to check her for everything, they're going to get her vaccinated. And then they also reminded me that I should get as much rest as possible. So they said, we're going to bring you back to the ward once you regain back the mobility on your leg. Once you can move your leg a little bit more, then we'll bring you back to the normal ward. You can rest there, and we will bring your baby once everything is done. So I think I came out of the ward at around 9. I remember she was born at 9:45, right? So around 10 o'clock I was out of the ward, but they just placed me outside of the ward. There's this room. They placed me there. I think I was there for like 1 or 2 hours till I regained back my ability to move my leg. So they kept coming back and asking me if I can lift my leg up. At one point I could lift my leg up already. I just wanted to go back to the ward, but they were all busy. The nurses were busy, and I had to wait even longer. There were other patients in the room as well. And finally they brought me back to my ward. And the minute I came back to my ward, I kept asking for my baby. But they said you have to rest. So I did. Then they brought back the baby. And you know, I want to remember this. In that ward, I kept looking out if they're going to bring Shonam to me, because they kept bringing these trolleys with that, you know, that small bassinet kind of thing where they bring the baby. So they kept bringing in babies, and there were other mothers there, and they were bringing the babies to the mother. So every time the nurses come in through that door with a baby, I would look intently, and I would just see if that's my baby, if she's going to bring that trolley to me. And I remember at one point when Shonam came, I remember her bringing that trolley, and I was looking so closely because I kept on asking the nurses before that, like, when is she coming, when is she coming? And I even called my husband, and my husband said that he asked the nurses. He's outside, he asked the nurses, and they said that they're going to bring the baby in a while. So I was looking, and the nurse went and kept all these files, and she had the baby there. It was very far away. She had the baby there, and I was waiting, and she came towards me, and I was so happy I could not stop smiling. And the minute I saw her, it was so good. I felt so good that entire day I did not feel any pain from my C-section. Could be because of the medication as well, obviously, but I also felt very, very high. It felt like I had taken drugs. I felt so happy. I was so high, and I was calling everyone. I was so high. I did not feel sleepy at all. It was a whole different experience, and I'm so happy and I'm so grateful that I got to experience it. I'm just very, very happy. I'm a very happy mother, and the whole reason I started this YouTube channel is so that I can record every single memory that I have with her. You know, I want to make sure that she knows that she is loved. She's so loved by me and my husband, and you know, we are so grateful that we can have her, and we can't wait to spend the rest of our lives teaching her things, learning from her. Sorry the video got cut off earlier, guys, but that's it. That's my birth story. I hope you guys enjoyed my story, and this was supposed to be a get ready with me video, but I guess I was holding on to my lipstick the whole time, and got carried away with the story, but it's okay, we'll do that next time. I am going to come up with many more videos in the future. There's going to be vlogs coming out. Shonam's going to be in it too. My husband is going to be in it too, and there's going to be more reviews, planning to do more reviews, diaper reviews and so on. So please do like the video if you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment on what kind of videos you're hoping to see next time, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.